I'm Anna, and I'm here in front of SmartCat on Data Science Conference in Belgrade. We have Karl Ivo with us today, and we will talk about data and AI, some trends, and his experience in the industry. So, Karl, we've had a chance to talk a bit before the podcast, heard some interesting things from you. But first, let our mostly Serbian audience know, how do you like Serbia and Belgrade? It's your second time here.
Well, I haven't been here for a long time, maybe 15 years, and it looks great. Very happy to be here and very happy to be at this conference. I love the energy of it and the discussions with everyone. It's super thrilling. So, yeah. Very, very positive view of what's happening here.
Yeah, and 15 years ago, when you were here for the first time, what was your position? Where were you in your career?
I was a consultant with one of the big four companies, and a senior consultant manager. Then I kind of moved more into data, and then went on to banking. And now I'm back to consulting, mostly banking. So yeah, it's been quite a journey.
Quite a journey. So you have a background both in computer science and in business administration.
Yeah. I have a background in business administration, computer science, and management accounting.
Okay, and from those three, which one do you think is most significant or the closest to your heart?
Well. A couple of years ago, I recognized that data is its own thing, like data technologies, data approaches to data analytics. The terms kept changing. Like first it was big data, then it was not big data, then different platforms came, then the cloud and cloud data warehousing came. AI came in fashion, then out of fashion once the ROIs didn't really match the expectations. And now, obviously, AI is back with a vengeance, back on everyone's agenda. So, but yeah, the theme of things is like the whole IT field is so huge. My focus on data and applying data to solve the problems of the enterprise, to modernize and to enable AI, but also enable BI and the normal things that you do. Not everything we do is, fancy LLM stuff. Most of the things are actually quite trivial, but you have to get them right. You have to get the fundamentals right, and so I find this field of data very exciting. Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to your position as head of data platform and so on, head of data engineering, how do you handle your teams? What was the biggest team you were working with?
So I've managed different data teams and then renamed to data engineering teams in the past. Now I'm deploying data teams at customers to solve customer issues. It's a different perspective than when you're responsible in an organization. But I mean, it's a very, I'd say it's a bit different than handling, let's say, software development teams. In the sense that you really need to understand the business and also understand what you don't understand. Mm-hmm. And also have your data engineers understand at which point they need requirements engineering, business analysis, because however close they work with business, they are not business. And so it's one of the challenges I see with data engineering. In order to be able to complete the projects on time, to be successful as a data engineering team that is seen as providing value to the organizations. Mm-hmm. What we had before was, especially when the term was kind of new a couple of years back, at some point, the board was asking, okay, data engineering sounds great. What do you guys do all day?
Yes. And when it will return, what KPIs are reached and which aren't, right?
Right. Well, measuring the ROI on data engineering teams is my favorite sport. It's a difficult one. Okay, it's a tough discipline. Yeah. But yeah, essentially, you're solving some fundamental work. Providing the platforms, and just like what's the ROI? Well, the ROI is we continue to be relevant and, have the ability to...
data-driven decisions.
Yeah, to do the data-driven decisions, to do the things we need for our customers, both in analytics, reporting to regulators in regulated entities, etc. But also be part of this product marketing teams, however, where more complex data transformation or reporting, data analytics skills are needed, data pipelines. So it varies, and I think based on the industry, it might have a different focus, right? But
yeah. And you, as a service company, have, I suppose, experience with various industries and working with various domains. And you've mentioned that one of the biggest obstacles is how to actually bring business closer to data engineers and vice versa. How do you handle recognizing problems and pain points in your clients' companies?
Right. Well, you're asking very tough questions here. Well, first of all, it really depends on many variables. It depends on the industry. My focus industries, financial industry, so banking, insurance, and how to digitize them, optimize their processes, put them on a more modern way of efficiently handling the challenges of today. But in general, recognizing the pain points of business. One of the things that we mentioned earlier, central versus decentral, you also have to figure out what kind of, first of all, why do you need a data team? Mm-hmm. Maybe you don't need a data team. Maybe you do. And if you do, why? What do you need it for? Do you have a good understanding of your data and your data governance? This is also what we're seeing with clients. That oftentimes very enthusiastic people think, okay, let's bring this new technology first, or let's push for that. But then they quickly figure out we don't even know the pain points because we haven't even done our basic homework of slicing the domains properly, understanding who's doing what, who's responsible for what, who owns which problems. Because only then you can actually sit with some engineers and data engineers and figure out how to solve them. But once you do, one of the things that I think may be a good kind of recipe is to say, in all sorts of different organizational setups, you need some sort of a central team. It makes sense for providing platform and infra and basic infrastructure, regardless of whether you're cloud or on-premise. And then you need people that are working closer with business. Now, how many and for what depends on the organization size, whether you really want to have dedicated people. Also, based on your mission, right? Do you really want to solve everything, or do you really say, okay, we have some very bad reporting and we want to solve reporting first, and then we move on to fancy data science? Or it really depends on where you are. But this is how I like to think is a good way to first approach it.
And do you help your clients with responding to those questions? Why do they need data teams? Who is in charge of data governance? What are their pain points? Or you have clients who have all of those answers and then come to you? I suppose it's the first scenario.
Yeah, so one of the things that what we do is my team is focusing on three things: data management, consulting, data engineering, implementation, and data operations, maintenance, support, etc. After moving into this kind of 2 years ago from my role in banking, I assumed it'd be mostly data engineering, and there'd be a bit of consulting and a bit of operations, but actually it's quite evenly spread. So every time the question comes, okay, we have an old platform, and we know the issues, the pain points with it. The customer, the client usually has some idea about what might be options, but for various reasons they are undecided and need support or someone to challenge their thinking and provide them with an outside view about, in a structured way, what will this solution solve, what will that option solve. So there's a bit of, actually a lot of consulting, architecting, solution designing going on. The technical implementation part is also a challenge, because in enterprise business you have to be knowledgeable on the legacy systems and in the modern platforms. It really doesn't help if you get enthusiastic people out of university who are only knowledgeable in Python. because this is great and it's really awesome, but they will not see any Python when they get onto the project. In fact, they will be shocked by the amount of legacy and the low temperature of the legacy cold water they will be jumping into, right? So you kind of need like an integrated team that can help out and develop kind of the new solution with a modern platform, with an outlook to stay for a couple of years while understanding the legacy that they have to move away from. And that's a whole different challenge in data, because there is a lot of legacy that you need to keep the company functioning. It isn't just like, okay, let's create a new app and then you make a new app. It's kind of like greenfielding. I'm not saying that making app is easy. We also do that as well. But it's just the data approach is a bit different. Like you said, it's like you need to think of architecture solutioning first and consulting before you move into implementation. Yeah.
And to see how to fit in the legacy system, of course, because lots of it probably works there. And when it's our experience also, when you meet and start working with enterprise, people are used to their way of working. And how do you challenge those things? How do you manage introducing maybe some new apps or new technologies to their IT teams, if they have some?
If you see my talk tomorrow, my first slide is data is a people's problem, and you're addressing the people's side of the problem here, because it's especially difficult as a consultant to make teams adapt and change to a new way of working just because you brought in a new technology or developed a new solution. There is that aspect where you have to work with your client, with the actual organization, to make sure they drive the change and you support them in doing so. Because there's various ways in which the legacy might, seriously push back. For better or for worse, maybe with good arguments, maybe with not so great arguments, but you definitely have to consider this change aspect, and this is often overlooked, and it's advisable to pay attention to.
And since you've told me some interesting things about products your company is building, I'm not sure if you want to talk about it or not.
So yeah, so we are with the Specific Group, about 450 plus people in many locations: Austria, headquartered in Austria, Germany. We have Spain, Poland, Lithuania, a few people here and there in presence in Slovakia and Hungary as well. We're working for the DACH market mostly. The German-speaking world, and in the data space, I'm kind of working in stealth on also on two products. One of which I can announce. It will be the website will be coming up shortly. It's called Amonga.com. It's an integration platform, UI with a great UI. For designing conversions of APIs, anything to API, so it sits upstream. Also has a bit of batch functionality to support batch workflows, but is mostly meant to help, if you will, convert legacy systems or connect legacy systems to modern platforms and ecosystems. And so we're using that a lot in our projects, and decided to create this and put it out there as a generic product. And so I'm very happy to soon be releasing that out into the world. And in the data space, I believe it's very important to, as you grow your services business, to also think about what are product capabilities that you can work on, that you see, across your projects, and you can generalize into a product. And I'm very thrilled that my team is so enthusiastic about it as well.
Yes, it's amazing. I just wanted to say the thing you said at the end about recognizing the problems from the practice. And actually you're working with a lot of, I suppose, enterprises. They have legacy systems, and you saw the problem and the space for a solution for connecting it. And what are the modern technologies you are mostly using?
So we're a partner of Snowflake, so we integrate Snowflake. I might say we were kind of the OGs for Snowflake in the region in Austria, but we also we're technology agnostic. We will work with to the extent of our capabilities, which at this point are broad, but we're really don't want to be a particular single technology focused company. But a lot of the open source stack. And we have a few partnerships also with modern data stack smaller companies around the Snowflake ecosystem. We also partner with product-specific vendors like Hawk AI and integrate them for customers. And obviously, we do a lot of custom implementation in the likes of Oracle and Postgres and whatnot of data warehousing, normal platforms. So we try to keep very wide in terms of technologies used, but obviously we don't go into projects where we're not sure that we're not great at the technology. And it's a trade-off because you can do everything.
Yes.
But you also shouldn't narrow it down and say, okay, I'm only doing this one thing. Since this is not really in the interest of the customer.
You actually need to see also the trade-offs of using one or the other technology for the specific problem. And as a Snowflake partner, are you building a plugin for Snowflake in your product, or
not yet? Actually, we're a services partner, and we just do a customer project implementation. But
are you thinking of it for the product?
Yes, but let me release it first. Snowflake is a bit downstream for a product like that, but I'm definitely thinking about it, and we might we might have a few things up our sleeve. One interesting thing about Snowflake is there's a lot of room for development and a lot of potential in the whole, I guess, Central Western European region, actually entire Europe.
Yeah.
UK is more developed, but I have a view on Austria and Germany, and compared to other places like the US, we have a lot of catching up to do, and a lot of projects and things to do. As soon as we have more cloud regions locally available, the larger organizations are going to be less reluctant to make the switch. But it's one of those things that I'm a strong believer in.
It's a lot to be planned when having a product, but yes, first release is the most important, I suppose.
I guess you're in a similar business. The customer is first.
Yes.
Their journey is the most important one, and you just kind of have to work with your market and understand what they need today, what they might need tomorrow. And also keep an eye on what they might need in 3 years.
Yes. And regarding your podcast, maybe you can say where our viewers can see it, and then we will link it below for some interesting topics. Is it in German?
It's in English.
It's in English.
And actually it's on YouTube. It's called the Specific Data and Strategy Podcast. It's very unpopular, so please do.
We will check it out.
Yes. It's just something that I've done, 6-7 episodes already, and talking with senior leaders for the sake of having these discussions and not thinking about podcast numbers at this point. But thanks also for inviting me to this talk. Very happy
It was a pleasure
to discuss it with you.
Yes, thank you. Do you have anything else maybe you would like to emphasize?
You can look me up on LinkedIn, Karl Ivo Sokolov, and
we will leave the link down below.
We'll be happy to connect with you and talk about data.
Yes, thank you very much.